Okay, guys. No. Coeur d'Alene is 1:50 p.m. is when it's happened. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, major event looks like unfolding. I'm not sure exactly where it's going, but it could be something that is being a what they're saying is that there was a shooting that was supposedly drawing in first responders via a fire, and that somebody or some persons were ambushing first responders by shooting them. And it looks like there's been multiple people that have been hit and or have been shot, and two unresponsive is what they said. I heard 10 people were shot a minute ago, but it looks like from what the reports are now saying is that and we're right now we're looking at it. It's just coming out all over social media. Let me read it to you here real quick. Gateway Pundit is now saying several firefighters have been shot in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Now, Idaho, especially in that area, in the past was known for extremist group that was an Aryan or white supremacist group, and this goes back to the 80s and 90s. Now that group no longer is there. It was a smaller group that had influence in some ways over the community, or it influenced the community in some way that seemed to always represent when people thought of Coeur d'Alene or North Idaho as being a racist area. But those people are no longer there. However, the stigma still persists to this day. Obviously, Idaho is kind of like Texas. It's more like a independent state where they kind of have their own way of, thinking in terms of independence. And, they're all about, there's a couple states like that you could say. Now, I've got the scanner on right now, so I'm listening to the scanner if anything else comes up. But I'll tell you more about what's going on here if there's any more developments. But a lot of people are saying it's a false flag, and that it might be a prelude for some other kind of action, especially on states that are, with this whole public lands bill they wanted to squeeze into the big beautiful bill, where they wanted to just basically sell off public lands, where there's lots of land in these states like Texas and Idaho and Utah and all of the nice areas, Montana. They want to sell off just huge parcels and portions, many millions of acres, to raise money for, I guess, the federal government, and they're just selling it off. And
Central EMS 63.
From what I understand, that part of the bill was rejected. So I guess I was listening to Ryan. Oh, what's his name? Ryan. Trying to remember that guy's name. Let me listen to what they're saying here real quick. His name is Ryan. He has a show. See if I can find it really quick here. Yeah, Ryan. Sean Ryan, the Sean Ryan Show, and he's got a very huge. He's kind of one of the top podcasters, kind of like a Rogan, but he's more about patriots and people that are former military. He talks a lot of shop with people that are military, former government type contractors, things like that. He knows all that stuff in the background, or at least he talks to people that know about a lot of that stuff. And he was saying that they resisted effectively the intrusion into this bill about the public lands sales, that they were going to sell off all this public land. So they were able to stop it. But he says there's huge amounts of government corruption and intimidation on people that are whistleblowing and are trying to resist this. And he seemed to kind of scared. He almost said, when I was listening to his video, it almost sounded like he was kind of worried about the backlash on how they go after people that are whistleblowers and or who are resisting the government's agenda, and this was part of it. He says that it's going to come back around. He said this isn't over. They're going to insert it. They've been trying to do this for over 10 years. They're going to insert it now into another bill, and obviously this is a big part of what Trump wants. So people are like, well, why is Trump doing this? This is why Sean Ryan is calling for a third party now. He says the Republicans no different than the Democrats, and obviously he's disappointed in what Trump's doing. This guy is a huge, huge advocate for military and law enforcement and everything else under the sun that's having to do with security of the United States and in its best interest. But he's now backtracking on everything that is Trump, right? Because he sees that there is no difference in what Trump's agenda is. In fact, Trump is actually rolling out and facilitating a faster takeover of what a Democrat could have done. Joe Biden would have had all kinds of resistance, but Trump doesn't, and because he frames it differently. He does these jujitsu moves on people that they don't even realize what's going on, and those are even his own supporters are actually doing something that they would normally have resisted. They're going along with it because it's Trump. Trust the plan, But that's what they knew would happen, and that's why they installed a Trump that would. And Trump obviously is a part of this for a long period of time. Their agenda is basically being pushed through. Now, the reason I bring that up is because Idaho is a big part of that play on that public land sale. They want to get rid of all of these, vast expanses of public land that's, it's like the treasure of America. They want to just sell it off and give it to who? The Chinese? I mean, anybody who has money to come in and buy it up, or they want to set up camps out there. What do they want to do? What are they trying to do with all this land? And so maybe people like this, who knows if this was locals that did this or if this was a false flag. They're going to probably turn this into something really bad is my feeling is that maybe they'll turn this into some kind of reason for some other catalysts, and this might turn into something worse. Who knows? So we're listening right now. A lot of channels are going on this, live on this. I'm kind of listening to the back channels to see what people are saying about this. Let me just listen in here really quick. I'm listening to the scanners. Hold on. So basically, they called it on the scanners, and they said that it was an active shooter situation, and a lot of people were down. Let me listen to a few others here.
Idaho News, like one of their local news stations up there. It's up there saying shots were fired around 1:50 p.m. according to radio traffic.
Okay.
Broke out, hitting down first responders.
Okay, so here's what the mainstream media and local news here in Idaho is saying. It says that multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to a fire in North Idaho. This is a heinous direct assault on our brave firefighters. I ask all Idahoans to pray for them and their families as we wait to learn more. It says that this is coming from KHQ, local. I believe this is a NBC News affiliate. As this situation is still developing, this is just an hour ago, stay clear of the area to allow law enforcement and firefighters to do their job. It says Kootenai County has updated. updated the emergency alert and expanded their shelter-in-place order. Everything south of
42 medic units, 2 ambulances. See report to 19th and Middleton. Code 2.
19th and Middleton. Hold on, that was live. 19th and Middleton.
Secondly, Coeur County
Hold-
EMS units.
Hold on, let me just see what that is. Middleton. Let me see what that is. 19th and Middleton Road. All right, so what it goes on to say, everything south of Hayden Lake Road and east of 15th Street and Coeur d'Alene is now within the shelter-in-place area. What? It says Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The Kootenai County issued an emergency alert advising residents
Also central from DC 31. It's been 20 minutes since the AMR units.
in the Canefield Mountain Trailhead and Nettleton Gulch Road area, Coeur d'Alene, to shelter in place. Emergency management and officials are urging anyone not in the area to avoid it due to ongoing law enforcement activity. It says, according to Chief Pat Riley of the Northern Lakes Fire District, law enforcement from multiple jurisdictions is assisting with the situation. Chief Riley shared his personal reaction to the incident, stating, "My immediate reaction was completely heartbroken. We trained for this. You never want to see it in your own community." He emphasized that firefighters remain focused on their duties despite the circumstances. However, fire suppression efforts have been halted. Oh, no. It says, despite the challenges, evacuations are not currently anticipated. That means that the fire is going to spread. Residents are advised to stay alert to surroundings. See, so what it looks like is somebody started this fire on purpose, and then they didn't want it to be tamped down. They didn't want it to be put out, so they started shooting at firefighters. Is what it looks like. Residents are advised to stay alert in their surroundings and wait for further information as it becomes available. And it says police and emergency crews are responding to an active shooter situation where multiple firefighters were reportedly shot. Kootenai County deputies are asking residents to avoid the area. Okay, so to me, it looks like because there's a lot of fears of fires in the mountainous areas in the northwest, and especially in certain areas, there might be something going on in those areas that they don't like. They want maximum, this look to me has all the classic indications of a false flag. Why would they be starting fires and then trying to get those fires to spread by shooting firefighters as they're trying to put out the fire? Now, when the cops got up there, they started shooting at the cops. So they were literally shooting the cops too. Is from what I heard that police were also shot at. Now we have to make sure on the police part of it whether or not that's actually accurate. But from what I heard, police were also being shot at. Let's see here. 25 minutes ago. It says that firefighter crews have been forced to pull back, leaving the brush fire as an ongoing threat. Authorities are advising residents nearby to remain cautious and alert. Have they caught the guy that was shooting, or people? Maybe it was a few people that were shooting. Who knows? Maybe this is another thing that they said. Now, listen, guys. One of the threats from foreign actors that have come across our border illegally was that they would start fires. One of the ways of an attack on the United States from foreign entities, and that would include sleeper cells, is to do soft targets. And one of those soft targets would be to start fires in the mountains. This is what they said. And so starting fires in the mountains by sleeper cells, this is one of the things that I think is going to be a major problem. Another addition to probably many dominoes is going to be fires in the mountainous areas, especially in mountains like California where everything's dead. You know, if you go into the Sierra Nevadas in California, they said when we left California, it was a huge problem with the bark beetle killing all the pine trees. So they're saying like almost 100% mortality rate for pine trees. And now a lot of them are dead standing, and it takes 2 years before the actual tree turns like a reddish color where the needles, basically just fall off, and they turn where they actually are dry. But once the tree dies, you can't tell it's dead for another 2 years. So once it starts turning red, then you know it's completely dead, and it's just dead standing. But even in spite of that, the trees up there, if they may look alive for a period of time, and you see red areas all around from the sky, you can see these dead areas that are just the whole forest is turned red. It's just like a Christmas tree that you leave in your house. After about a month, it turns like a reddish color, and the needles all just start either falling off, or it's a terrible, fire hazard, because if that tree ever caught fire, it explodes. And so that's the same thing that's happening up in the Sierra Nevadas. So they went and they were cutting down trees. They wouldn't allow people to cut down trees back in 2016 because it was against the law, but they were cutting them down, giving them to the Chinese. Chinese were taking them back to China, making particle board out of them, and they were giving them away. They weren't selling them to China. They were just giving them to China. And then China would send back particle board to sell to the U.S. That's America at work right there. They wouldn't let local people or anybody else go up there and cut down the trees. In fact, you get in trouble if you went up into the Sierra Nevadas to try to cut down trees, because they say that the satellites would tell, oh, well, there's people cutting trees here. The satellites can tell when trees disappear, and they zoom in on it. They find out who's cutting down the trees. This was back in 2016, 15 and 16. I'm sure the problem's gotten worse, but I'm just saying, for that matter, the mountain areas up there in the Sierra Nevadas are completely dry, as a dry Christmas tree would be in your house waiting for a spark. And so would that be another avenue for sleeper cell attacks from foreign actors, especially those who are very upset at what's going on in the Middle East, those that are upset with what's going on with the agenda in America within our own policies? For instance, transgender issues, migrant issues. When I say transgender gay issues, because that's a big threat. The environmentalists, I don't think environmentalists would light fires, but they do crazy stuff, and people that are anti-Jewish agenda with the Palestinians, they're very upset about that. That could also be a spark that lights, a major chaos in the world. Here at home, could be a reason for why people would do, something that would be contrary to, stable society. They want to disrupt society. They want to stop traffic. They want to create havoc. They want to try to bring attention in some way to their cause. They're going to do everything and anything, to the point of possibly even violence. Anything that would cause maximum chaos is something that would help their agenda, right? And so you've got these different causes that are happening concurrently with outbreaking wars. They're saying right now that the whole thing with Iran is going to ramp back up in the next week. Israel's getting ready to attack Iran once again. And what is Iran doing? They're preparing for a large barrage of missiles into Israel. And they're saying, this is what the Iranians are saying. They said, what happened, actually the Israelis told the Iranians that what has just happened was a trailer compared to what's about to happen to you. So, when you have a movie and you got a trailer that kind of gives you a preview, well, that was the preview, they say, of what is to come. So I'm guessing that the Iranians, the way they responded was pretty harsh. They're probably saying, let's do it. So America is also threatening to go in and completely annihilate, because the Iranians are basically saying they're ramping up their nuclear program back up. And they're saying in the news that the Iranians are starting to. So this is all a tinderbox about to blow up, is what I'm saying. So whatever's going on in the other parts of the world has an effect on what's happening here in America. And one of the attacks that I've read about in these news alerts that come right directly from our own government is that one of the soft targets that would be forest fires. So I'm kind of wondering if this is what we're seeing right now here in Idaho. Let me just pull up some feeds here for you guys so you can see what I'm looking at here. And we'll go through some news too. Okay, this is all pretty much everything that we already read to you. Let me just pull up the live feed here. Let's see if we can hear what's going on here. It may have died out, but we want to find out if they caught the people, if there should be a news conference. I'm sure it's going to be coming up. They'll probably be having a news conference here anytime. I don't know why these advertisements keep popping up. Let's see if we can find any recent info on this. This is a major news story right now because I think a lot of people are putting it, they're connecting the dots on possibly being an attack. This could actually be some kind of an attack on America from a foreign actor. I don't know if they're going to say it's a local, because this is, like I said, this area in North Idaho. If you remember the Randy Weaver incident, do you remember that? They called it Ruby Ridge. That happened in northern Idaho, not too far from where this is at. They also had a group that made national news that was an Aryan white supremacist group that used to meet, and their headquarters actually was right near Coeur d'Alene. So this might be another reason to focus on the area, maybe to blame extremists for something, for possible reasons that the government might need to intervene. Who knows? In some way, putting a crosshair on that area, right? But then again, I personally think that it could also be connected to what I talked about there with that threat of forest fires being one of the, asymmetrical warfare type responses to America that they might use. So 36 minutes ago, we might have an update here. Let's see. It says here that multiple firefighters reportedly shot responding to brush fire in northern Idaho. I don't want to accept these cookies. I do not like cookies. So it says police and emergency crews responded Sunday to an active shooter incident. It says here that it was a vegetation fire. It was a vegetation fire they were responding to, but they have not released details about the number of people that were injured or their conditions. Really, this was only 36 minutes ago, and this is from mynorthwest.com. And it says the Fires Protection District Chief said the firefighters were shot while working the fire, prompting crews to retreat. He confirmed that fire suppression efforts have been halted due to the ongoing danger. My immediate reaction was completely heartbroken. We read that part. It says he also noted at this time evacuations are not expected. Evacuations are not expected. However, residents in the area are urged to remain aware of their surroundings and to follow any instructions from law enforcement as the situation continues to develop. The chief also said that law enforcement agencies from multiple jurisdictions have responded to assist with the incident. Deputies have asked the public to avoid East Nettleton Gulch Road and the surrounding areas near Canefield Mountain. Let's see what that looks like. Let me see what that looks like here. I'll see if I can find a map of this. They said Canefield Mountain, huh? Okay, so here is the map. You can see here, this is where it's at. Nettleton Gulch Road and Canefield Mountain would be up here. So they said here that it said to avoid East Nettleton Gulch Road and the surrounding area near Canefield Mountain. East Nettleton Gulch Road near Canefield Mountain, and that would be right up in this area right here. So you can see this area here, there's the wholesale Costco, and if you go over here, hold on one second here, I think my kids are coming in.
Incoming medical call F1 Ida.
Okay, so that was the scanner there. I've got the scanner on in the background. Not a whole lot going on with the scanner at the moment, but this is probably where the fire started, right in here somewhere, right in this area. And this is a very busy area out here. This is basically Coeur d'Alene in this area going into the main part here down by the lake. And this is just the main part of Coeur d'Alene. So this is right off the main area where the mountains kind of come in. This is probably really high-end, richy kind of area. But this might be a perfect location
Ambulance 10 Central.
for a false flag, because you're right near the freeway, and if anybody's doing something right here in these mountainous areas, they could try to escape.
Ambulance 10 Central.
Hold on, let's listen in and see what they're saying. Hold on.
Ambulance 10 Central 127.
Something about an ambulance.
KCMR Station 1 127.
Over KCFR Station 1.
Confirming EMS 10 is still there.
Okay.
A10 is in service at Station 3, KCFR Station 3.
Copy. Thank you.
All right, so let me just get back. I'm going to just turn it down a little bit. All right, so I'm just going to turn it down so I can hear it in the background there. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. But so the reason I speculate about this is because this is a main highway here, and if there was some kind of bad actor, false flag, and or not false flag, but maybe just someone attacking and trying to keep a fire going here, like,
Central KCFR Station 1.
you know, making a fire so that it would become out of control, well, they would have to get rid of the,
Call 192, fleet is 9, engine 10, and ambulance 15.
they would have to basically cause the firefighters to back off, right? They would start a fire, and they wanted that fire to, for some reason, it was important for that fire to engulf this whole area. they would have to shoot and stop the firefighters from putting it out. And maybe there's a strategic reason for why this fire needed to start. And so you had people that were positioned to shoot to get the firefighters to back off. Now, from what I understand, there were multiple people that were wounded. 2 of them, they said, were not conscious, or that were, I guess that was the word, not conscious or unresponsive. Unresponsive. That doesn't sound good. So 2 of them were unresponsive. The rest of them, not sure how many people. I heard 10 people, and I heard it was both cops and firefighters. So that sounds kind of weird. It sounded to me like if you were taking on 10, if somebody was taking on 10 different first responders, especially cops, that it would have to be more than one person, I would think. So, like I said, this is right on the edge of town, and it's right between this area here and this this mountainous region right here. Right here, Canefield Mountain, and so it's somewhere right in, this is all evacuated areas in here. So I'm guessing the fire is somewhere in this area right in here. And that is right on the outskirts of the major area here inside of Coeur d'Alene. And that's Coeur d'Alene Lake. This is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States after COVID. People were running to Idaho, places like Idaho, Utah, even Montana. People were trying to get out of Dodge. They wanted to get out of the cities, out of these blue states, and even a lot of red states. They wanted to get out of red states, even what they were the kind of purplish state. And maybe there's a lot of liberal bastions within these red states. They say Idaho a haven. People were looking at it as a haven to resist. If you remember, Coeur d'Alene here was in the news during COVID, or actually was it before COVID, when all of these protests from Antifa were taking place, Black Lives Matter. If you remember that, major cities all across America were being attacked and or protested, and then riots would break out from Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Well, they came to Coeur d'Alene, and if you'll remember, in the mainstream media, Coeur d'Alene got national attention because everybody and their brother came out to Coeur d'Alene with their guns hanging off their shoulders, walking down Main Street. How many of you guys remember that? And if you didn't see that part, if you didn't remember that, you might want to take a note as to why Coeur d'Alene and or North Idaho might become a target for people that don't like guns and or independent living that, Texas is known for, and places like Idaho are known for, and anywhere that's rural, that people want to get out of the cities, that, that kind of freedom kind of mindset that is, whether it's off-grid or being self-sustaining, having your own, garden, having your own little farm, whatever it is, not dependent on all the regulations. I mean, look at the Amish. They get hurt. They get messed with by government because, their milk's not regulated. Their milk hasn't been, vaccinated, and we're not able to look into what they're doing. So we're going to basically just shut their farms down. I don't know. There's been a lot of harassment against people like that, especially like the Amish. Well, that's because Bill Gates wants to take over every little aspect of city life or of country life, and wants to channel all the profits into making bug stew and cricket hamburgers and GMO'd mRNA chicken, Frankenstein chicken, and beef. They want to get rid of their goal is to ultimately completely 86 beef and chicken, natural. They want to grow their own meat in a lab, kind of just grow it, kind of like those when you were a kid, when you would put those little crystals into the water, and then they grow, and you turn into a big old crystal inside of your fish tank or something. You got all these little crystals. Well, that's what they want to do. They want to put their little mixture or whatever it is they're making, lab meat, and they put it in, and it grows into some kind of side of beef, and then they cut it up, meat glue it together, and then sell it to you. It's good for you. It didn't cost any cow farts. It didn't mess up the atmosphere. We're chemtrailing the atmosphere every day anyway, but the cow farts don't have to hurt it. But yeah, I'm telling you, it's absolutely crazy. Okay, so we have some other info right here. Just now coming out. Let's see what this is. We got some more breaking news here. Let's see what this is here. Okay. Okay, so it says here that shots were fired. Let me pull up another screen here so you can see everything here. This is my... One second here. Okay. I'm missing a screen here. Where's my screen? What is going... Oh, here it is. Psh, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here thinking, what is going on here? Okay. So here we go. So it says shots were fired downtown or down on Canefield. Crews are evacuating. This was 9 minutes ago. 9 minutes ago. So this is still ongoing. Crews are evacuating. Law enforcement is en route. Okay, this has got to be a picture. Avoid the area. To be clear, someone intentionally ambushed the firefighters and shot several of them. Shooter is still shooting as he sees people. What? Fire was intentionally set to draw in firefighters. Firefighters are pinned down. Fire crews are being shot at, and several have been shot, according to radio traffic. Where the news gets their news. Okay, so let's go back over to some video here. Let's listen to the video. Can you guys see that? Let's listen in and see what they're saying here.
Now there is an active shooter situation developing in Idaho. As you look at your screen right now, multiple firefighters have been ambushed and shot while responding to a brush fire in the city of Coeur. Reports say multiple people have been injured. Police are asking people to avoid this area, and a press conference is scheduled for later this hour. We will bring you any new updates.
Okay, so that was for 421. That was just not even 10, 15 minutes ago. Let's see. That was about 20 minutes ago. So we'll be finding out a lot of information as this unfolds. Okay, guys? So just stay tuned here. We've got our scanner going on in the background too. Okay, so now we're seeing that Christy, listen to this. Christy Nome of the Homeland Security Secretary has been briefed on active shooter standoff. Oh, so there's a standoff. SWAT and federal authorities are on the scene. Rapid sniper fire. Under rapid sniper fire. What? Under rapid sniper fire. Look at this. So they're saying now rapid sniper fire. Wow. This is according to Disclosed TV. Let me pull this up on the screen for you here. So it says 2 people were fatally shot. Okay, so 2 people are dead, and others injured during a brush fire response in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. An active shooter, possibly multiple shooters. What? They are firing right now at law enforcement. This article was posted when? This is according to CNN. And it says, it goes on to say that residents are advised to shelter into place to ensure safety. Governor Brad Little condemned the attacks on firefighters, calling it heinous direct assault. He urged Idahoans to pray for the injured. Idahoans. What did I say? Okay. The incident occurred in the Canefield Mountain Natural Area, known for its trails and dense forests or trees. They are actively addressing the situation. So let me see how many minutes ago this was. Let me see how. So this is the top story at Disclosed TV right now. Okay. And then this, like I said, this is the area right here. This is Coeur d'Alene, the main part of the downtown area. And right here is off the eastern part of Coeur d'Alene, right above the lake. The lake is down here, Coeur d'Alene Lake, Coeur d'Alene. And then you got right up here, this is the main highway that goes through Coeur d'Alene, Highway 90. So if there was some type of an operation, you might think that this would be the escape route, which this route would go toward Spokane, Washington. If you were to get on Highway 9, you would come into Spokane right here. This is Spokane. So you see here, Spokane Bridge. This is where the Coeur d'Alene area is here. And the main highway goes through Post Falls. Spokane Bridge goes to Spokane Valley. And here's Spokane itself. So there you go. That's how far away it is from Spokane. Not too far. Now, if you didn't remember, I was going to show you some of the footage because they had threatened to come over to Coeur d'Alene. The Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they were all threatening to come in and, start riots and attack businesses. Well, everybody and their brother came out with their guns. And if you didn't see the footage, you want to see some of that footage, I'm going to show you right now. Look at this footage. This was in probably 2000, was this 2020 or what? No, actually this might have been earlier. CDA. Uh-oh, I hear a helicopter. Let's see, CDA. It was a Black Lives Matter protest in Coeur d'Alene. Let's see if I can get that up here. I need to spell it correctly, though. And if you don't know what Coeur d'Alene is, it's just kind of a French name, I guess. And let's see. This is the armed people out there at Coeur d'Alene, just so you know what.
All lives matter. Well, this is what protesters in Coeur d'Alene looked like earlier tonight near Winco there. A crowd began to form late this afternoon. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley joins us live from downtown Coeur d'Alene tonight.
If you take a look, you covered several blocks. We haven't seen very many protesters down here tonight, but there are quite a few people.
There's not any protesters down there because they were all afraid of everybody that had guns.
Who are here that are armed, and those people told me they say they're here tonight to protect Coeur d'Alene from any potential rioters, which are not meant to be confused with the peaceful protesters we saw today. Now take a look at what the crowd looked like near Winco and Cracker Barrel earlier today. Black Lives Matter protesters gathered on both sides.
Did they say Cracker Barrel? There was a bunch of crackers down at Cracker Barrel against the black. Now, this dude's black, so you can't say. There's a lot of black people in Idaho, by the way, and there's no racism whatsoever. In fact, this dude right here is black, and he's got a gun slinged on his back shoulder.
to the street, and it was all pretty peaceful. With them were several people who were armed, and they told me they were there to keep the peace and protect protesters so they could do so safely. Now, those protesters told me they welcome that protection.
Be concerned my
countries, and here we're not going to leave. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen, and that's why we're surrounded by all these wonderful people who have guns, because they're letting us know, hey, we're standing here.
I love it. We're all surrounded by these wonderful people that have guns, and they're here to protect. That's why everybody.
Ambulance 15, engine 10.
That's why everybody that nowadays everybody's armed, especially when they go to church now, because they're afraid they're going to be, the church is going to be shot up. Everybody in church is armed. I don't know if you saw those videos where the guy comes in to try to shoot parishioners and he ends up getting shot really quick because all the parishioners have guns. All the parishioners pull out their guns and they start shooting in the middle of church. This is in the middle of church. So people don't really mess around too much in Idaho because everybody's got a gun. They say an armed society is a polite society, right? Everybody is polite when they realize that the other guy might have a gun. So here's some more of the footage here. Look at this.
Riot and looting happened.
When we moved over here to downtown Coeur d'Alene on Sherman, we found businesses like Clark's Diamond Jewelers starting to board up. And again, the tone in both locations were mostly calm, actually very calm and peaceful. Now, not only people here are armed, but many are donning American flags, showing a sense of pride and ownership of their home. And many people I talked to here.
This didn't actually show the good footage. There was another channel. They got a lot of good footage of literally everybody. Here, this might be it. Let me see if this is the one.
And was done here. Captain gatherings tonight's protests.
Look at everybody got.
No, they don't have comms with the ambulance.
What was crazy is that everybody had a gun, and the whole street. Hold on. There's still a lot going on, I guess, but they showed everybody and their brother. I mean, it was almost every single person had a gun. I don't see the footage on here anymore. They used to have footage of this. Okay, so it says right now, hundreds of law enforcement officers are responding from all over the area, including Spokane Police Department. What? You got to be kidding me. Wow, look at this. This is absolutely crazy. Homeland Security, Christine Nome briefed on active shooter standoff in Idaho. SWAT and federal authorities are on the scene. We told you that rapid sniper fire is ongoing. Ongoing rapid sniper fire. So they can't even get ambulances up there, and some of those people might have been under sniper fire. Did we play that? Okay, we already played that, didn't we? No, we already played that. I already played all that. Anyways, I guess that's I have a feeling that we're going to start seeing more of these types of protests where we're going to, nothing's happening right now, but America's going to go back into that place of protest once again as all of this stuff ramps up in the Middle East. I think there's going to be a lot of turmoil that's going to start happening like we've never seen before. And I think we're getting closer to those moments. they keep promising peace, peace, but it's always, things that Trump has been doing. If you've been paying attention, Trump has been saying and doing things that seem to be 1 minute way, the next minute the next way. What he started off with, it turns to be opposite. And he's doing that because he doesn't want people to figure out what he's doing, right? He's trying to appease and placate and deceive the adversaries, right? Supposedly. And this is his way of deal making, right? He always is trying to keep people off balance, so you never know what he's really going to think or what he's really thinking or what he's going to do. And so when he says something, you can almost bet it's not going to actually happen. It's going to be the opposite of what he's saying. Or he'll do one of those, if you know anything about poker, like if you ever watch poker, they call it a tell. You get a tell on somebody, and then a person that's playing your game that knows that there's tells, he'll give a fake tell. He'll make you think that this is a tell that you picked up on. Oh, he must be thinking this, or he must have a strong hand because he gave me this tell, right? They call it a tell, where you kind of let somebody know something by a certain movement or an eye or facial expression or something like that, so that your opponent thinks that you have something. Well, when good poker players can actually do what they call a reverse tell, reverse tell, where they tell that they know that you're thinking a certain thing, so they tell you this, but they're actually doing this. It's like a double tell, like a double reverse tell. So I mean, it's all mind games. It's all mind games. You're playing mind games. And Trump's excellent at doing that. And so people think that he's going to be on their side when he's really not. He's playing both sides, only looking for the best outcome for himself. It really is a selfish thing. It's not about helping the MAGA movement or the right. No. It's all about, and you can see what he's setting up right now with all the technology, the AI, all of this stuff about buying up public lands, packing that new big beautiful bill. This is contrary to everything everybody's expected, and people are freaking out on the right. This is why there's big civil war going on in MAGA right now. They're all fighting amongst each other because of what they're doing. But Trump is playing both sides. He'll lie 1 minute, say one thing, and then he'll say something completely opposite the next minute. And then he'll flip back and he'll say something else again in this favor, and then he'll flip back. And I'm telling you, I see him doing this every single major thing that's going on, whether it's Middle East policy, domestic policy, it's happening across the board. And this is just the way he is. This is why a lot of people didn't like him. This is why he had failed businesses. This is why he claimed bankruptcy 7 times in a short period of time over every business that he had that failed, including his casinos, including his airline business that he had, his steak business, his wine business, spirit, whatever he did, it would just fail. But he made money, supposedly. They ask him, well, how do you make money? How do you be a billionaire? Well, I make money in my bankruptcies. How do you do that? I didn't think that's possible. Well, if you use the laws, which he says are there to help you, you can claim bankruptcy all you want until you make it. You just keep faking it until you make it. And as long as you protect your name and make your name seem like it's synonymous with success, then I guess that's all that really matters, because that's the only thing that's worth anything is an image. That's why it's an image of the beast, because it's the image that's actually, that's why they call it an image, because that image actually begins to take on its deceptive power. It becomes so pervasive in its influence over society at a certain point. And this is why we talk a lot about prophecy on this channel, because we understand all this technology and where it's leading. And even Elon and all the major gurus, Peter Thiel, they all know it's the beast. They all know it's the last day. Peter Thiel is a preacher of Christianity, even though he's gay and even though he's promoting this technology, which he says is kind of benign, but you can tell he sounds really guilty about it. Anytime he talks about it, he sounds like a TV evangelist. Have you ever heard Peter Thiel talk? He's got this amazing viral video that's going on right now that everybody's looking at, because he's talking all about the end time beast system and how it's all happening, and that this Antichrist is going to rise up. And he's talking about where we're at right now, and yet he's actually promoting it. How is that possible? How is that possible? And then you got Elon Musk, who's a part of all this technology with, put a chip in your brain. He wants to do, and yet he's saying all kinds of good things. Well, this is all, this is a big, massive deception that's being foisted on especially the right, the MAGA movement, and they're completely clueless to what's actually happening, even though a lot of them are evangelicals, a lot of them, and I count myself a Christian, but I'm not one of those Christians out there that just swallows every hook, line, and sinker and goes along with it and trusts the plan. No, I don't do that. I use my brain and I pray and I ask to see through with discernment the deception of the age, because it's thick. And it says in the Bible that even if possible, the elect might be deceived. So I'm not going to submit myself to some groupthink, herd speak, herd mentality, be guided into some idea that this is all going to be the benefit of our cause because we're Republicans or we're conservatives and Trump has our back when he doesn't. Why do you think I'm hiding out in my deep underground military style bunker? Monitoring everything from down here on the screens over here, telling me everything that's going on up there, because I know the zombies are getting ready to come out. But anyways, so that's pretty amazing updates there that are coming out here. Woo wee, this is crazy. I had a feeling this was going to be something bigger than it is. Than it was, I should say. They said, hundreds of law enforcement are now responding from all over the area, including Washington, Spokane, Washington. They're saying at least 2 firefighters are dead. Let's see what else we got here. Bernie Sanders is calling the GOP a Stalinist cult. What? Stalinist? I thought he was I thought Bernie Sanders was the communist. I would think the right is more akin to fascism, if you ask me. But now, because what fascism is, really, it's corporatism, right? It's when you allow corporations to take over. That's really what fascism is and what the fasci means. And if you didn't know this, if you're an American and you didn't know this, if you just go to the House where they do all the voting, I think it's the House there or the Senate. And if you look at where the Speaker of the House sits, and if you look right at the sides on both sides, there's two fasci on both sides, which is like an axe with a bunch of it's on the back of your dime too. If you look at the dime, our money system, our dime, and you turn over the dime, you'll see two fasci on the dime, which is that's where you get your term fascism, right? So what is fascism? It's basically when corporations rule. And instead of what we might say is, hold on, we got some more updates here. Okay, it says, okay, hold on one second here. Okay, FBI agents are headed to the scene in Coeur d'Alene to provide tactical and operational support. It's an active scene. At this very moment, it's an active scene. Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, has confirmed that FBI assets are on the scene supporting the investigation of the ambush on firefighters in Kootenai County. So, yeah, that's just now coming out. We'll get you all the latest as it does pop off. We're going to hopefully find out what happens here with the shooter, if they can actually get this shooter, and find out how they can neutralize them and find out what's going on there. And then also with a with a press conference that should be happening pretty soon. I'm guessing they're saying, I heard they're going to have a press conference here really soon. We should be finding out on that here anytime. Let's see. Let's see if we can get some info on this. Okay. We might be able to find some live news too in just a second here. Hold on. What is it? KT. Kings 5. Is that it? Let's see if we can find. Yeah, Spokane News might have a live feed on it. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a live feed on this. Okay, we got some more updates here. Whoa. Okay, let's look at this here. Okay. This is coming from Bubba News. I don't know if you guys know who Bubba News is. Might check out Bubba News. It says here that what happened in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, the targeted shooting of firefighters responding to a brush fire is not an isolated act of violence. It's a message, strategic, psychological, and deeply embedded in the operational logic of asymmetrical warfare. That's what I was saying. Didn't I say that a minute ago? I believe it's asymmetrical warfare, and it has something to do with probably what's going on in the Middle East. I'm guessing. But let's look. Premise 1, message discipline. We can't overwhelm you. This is classic fourth generation warfare, or 4GW. The state's legitimacy is eroded not through direct military confrontation, but by disturbing the very systems that make it functional. Emergency response, continuity of governance, and civil defense. Targeting firefighters, the civilian non-combatant personnel, serves 3 objectives, strategic objectives. It diverts law enforcement from proactive policing to reactive chaos. It neutralizes trust in government's ability to protect and serve, and it creates narratives of chaos. Is it arson, terrorism, gang activity, lone actor? Confusion is the point. Exactly. Look at how many officers are out there right now. It says here that the premise 2 is drill within the drill, a deep state playbook move. Premise number 2, the incident's structure mirrors counterinsurgency dry runs, a low-scale emergency brush fire, a soft target response firefighters, a rapid escalation via gunfire, resulting in tactical lockdowns of entire municipalities. That's very interesting. A low-scale emergency, a soft target response, firefighters, a rapid escalation via gunfire. Okay, then it goes on to say this pattern is the first model of predatory destabilization drills, quote unquote, predatory destabilization drills, often run by clandestine networks to test response latency, observe chain of command breakdowns, and active embedded assets without triggering overt retaliation. You understand what they're saying there? Premise number 3, 0 hour signaling. The time is ticking. 03. Those trained in covert communication protocols will recognize the symbolism of such an attack. Oh, wow. Fire equals chaos. First responders equal system protectors. Gunfire equals system breach. This is a coded broadcast to aligned cells. Talking about sleeper cells. When the fire starts and defenders fall, you move. Ooh. Why would they pick Idaho too? See, that's another thing. Coeur d'Alene was a symbol. To me, I think Coeur d'Alene was a symbol of that. They're going after those independent, that's the symbol of patriotism. The symbol of patriotism right there. Such symbolic timing is operational signaling, a decentralized call to action prior to civil breakdown events or false flag escalations, and the ushering in of martial control. Yeah, it's a signal. It could very well be a signal. That's why I said when I looked at this, I was like, "There's something else going on here. This is something very fishy about this whole thing." And I think they're trying to do something right now. The conclusion: Coeur d'Alene, tactical signal plus strategic drill. Uh-oh. This was a psychological operation, test bed cloaked as a random attack, but the target, location, and timing betray a higher intent. And the intent is to test the fragility of civil response infrastructure before triggering larger domestic destabilization events. This was not an accident. This was an operation, is what they're saying here. And that was Bubba News. So for anybody that doesn't know who Bubba News is, you can always go check him out on Telegram. I think he might have a channel on YouTube as well, but I think his Telegram channel is a little popular. All right, there you go. Let's see what else we got here. So let's take a look and see at some of the response here. Whoops. Let's see some of the visuals here. These are some of the visuals. That's the fire that brought them all in, which looked to be purposely set. North Idaho News. Let's see. All right, let me look up really quick North Idaho News. Let's see. Let's see if they're making a big deal about this. Okay, it says update at 4 o'clock. That was 4 o'clock. Let's see what all the replies are. The shelter in place was expanded. Everything south. Okay, so let's see what else if there's any updates. Okay, there has been no confirmation this is in any way connected to Travis Decker as being reported by Washington News sites. Who is Travis Decker? So they're saying there has been no confirmation. So there's something going on with somebody. Okay, so here we got all the updates here. This is right directly from social media. Okay, so it says approximately at 1:30 p.m. KCFR responded to a wildfire burning at Caneville. Approximately 2 p.m. shots were fired on the Caneville Mountain. Kootenai County Sheriff Office and other law enforcement responded. An active investigation is happening and suspect is still outstanding. There is still an active fire in the Caneville area. Please avoid the area. Okay, so this is was an hour ago, 41 minutes ago. Kootenai County Sheriff is asking all media to stage at the Cherry Hill Fire Station in the parking lot. So there's probably going to be a news conference here in just a little bit. 36 minutes ago, sadly, we can now confirm that we heard from what we heard from the outset that there are 2 dead after the shooting. It wasn't confirmed who they are, and we will not state what was aired. It will eventually be officially released. Too bad. 2 people. This was 36 minutes ago. And let me see if there's any more updates here. It says 2 suspects still at large. Does that mean they've caught at least one? North Idaho News says no. Multiple people shot. I can barely see the update before it's drowned by the next random copy and paste player. Okay. I'm looking at a bunch of updates right now, right from the site, right from the. Somebody says time to go hunting. See, these people are. I'm telling you, these people are. These people, I'll tell you what. Well, I won't tell you what. I've seen some stuff and heard some stuff that will. Let's continue. Where are the thermal scopes? I mean, look at this is what people are saying. Where are the thermal scopes? The only hope, other than multiple canines, they need thermal scopes. Yeah. Does anyone know if the fire is being fought or is the fire totally pulled back? Okay. All right, this says is already made the national news. Okay, keep in mind they could be reading this to gain information. Be smart with your words and info at the moment. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got here. There is so much replies on these feeds here. I'll tell you if I get any new stuff. The 17 minutes ago. Is there a link to watch the press briefing? Okay, so where is this press briefing? I'll get the link for the press briefing momentarily here. People are talking about being sheltered. Just a few minutes ago, somebody said, "We are sheltered and ready to evacuate if needed." From the press conference, 2 deaths, both believed to be firefighters, so horrible, may they rest in peace. So there might have already been a press conference. at least a small press conference. Okay, wait a minute. They had it live on their YouTube channel. Okay, hold on. I think we can get you the press conference here. Hold on. Let's see. I think I might have it here. This was Spokane News, KXLY News. Okay, so they are live right now. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, this is just a live feed, but here is the law enforcement update on the manhunt. No, that was 2 weeks ago. That's not it. Come on. Let me see. So they haven't actually. Okay, so here we're gonna listen in on some feed here, on some of the feed here, and I think there was a little bit of an update. Let's go ahead and tap that in there.
Governor Little releasing a statement just a little bit ago saying multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to a fire in North Idaho. This is a heinous direct assault on our brave firefighters. He says, I ask all Idahoans to pray for them and their families as we wait to learn more information. And again, we did just learn here just moments ago, the FBI on the way, assets on the way, calling this still a very active scene. We are on standby for a press conference at the Cherry Hill Fire Station 3 at 4:30. Let's take a live bump out there so you can kind of see where we're talking about in that area. Again, Kootenai County Sheriff's Office standing by. We're moments away from.
So this is a.
Leave the. Did just learn here just moments ago, the FBI on the way, assets on the way, calling. Did just learn here just moments ago, the FBI on the way, assets on the way, calling this still a very
Okay, so the conference is right here. Here it comes right there. It's going to be coming up any moment.
Let's take a live bump out there so you can kind of see where we're talking about in that area. Again, Kootenai County Sheriff's Office standing by. We're moments away from hearing from them, an update on what's happening in that situation. Again, that smoke still very active. You saw from Mary Sheridan out there still reporting. We're trying to get an update on the conditions of any of those firefighters who first responded to the scene. Again, very active. It looks like they are getting ready to potentially address here. We might just stand by and wait to see if they'll address the podium. But in the meantime, again, reiterating, several firefighters ambushed by that gunman. Information still very preliminary in terms of a reference point. Very unprecedented situation unfolding in Coeur d'Alene. The response to that fire, of course, very important. We'll toss to our Jason Valentine, who's in studio here to discuss kind of the dry, windy conditions we've seen out there. Jason.
Yeah, luckily the winds have been going down, Jordan, so we're looking at just about 6 mile per hour winds coming out of the west-southwest. So that is not going to be feeding that fire too much. Again, it is very hot and dry.
At them. We now have 2 deaths. We have an unknown amount of casualties. We still have civilians that are coming off of that mountain. We might have civilians that are stuck or in shock on that mountain. So this is a very, very fresh situation. We are actively taking sniper fire as we speak. This is an active situation. We have multiple agencies that are on scene from local and federal authorities, and we are prepared to neutralize this suspect who is currently actively shooting at public safety personnel, we are prepared to neutralize this suspect as quickly as possible. And that's really all that we know as of right now. We don't know who the suspects are. We don't know how many there are. So I know that it's very, very, very early, and I don't think that any questions would yield anything. But Chief, do you have anything? Was I accurate in what we were reporting? So we'll take a couple of questions, but I'd like to remind you that's very, very preliminary, and I'm not so sure we're going to have any additional information.
Out of original KXOY, the 2 deaths, are they fire personnel that have died?
We know that there's 2 deaths, and we believe that they are, yes.
Have they been taken off of the mountain?
Yeah, no, we're still in that process.
Adam Brown, Crime 2. You mentioned that there were multiple people that have been shot. Do you have an exact number at
No.
the moment?
Nope.
Okay.
We do not.
Alex Duggan with the spokesman. How are you going about evacuating people from the mountain or getting personnel out of there who are being shot at? I mean, what does that process look like?
Right now, we're developing a plan to be able to suppress these individuals' firefighting capability. And when we get that under control, when we have an opportunity to suppress that, then we will continue our removing of people who are on the mountain, who are on for a hike, or public safety personnel, or people who live on the backside of the mountain.
Do we
Yes.
have any indication of what type of firearms are being used in this from the suspect?
Well, it appears that modern-day sporting rifles are being used. It appears that high-powered rifles are being used, yes.
How many acres is this fire?
I don't know.
Started out as a half acre.
Do we know about how many minutes after shots were fired when fire crews arrived?
Well, we got the first call at 1:21, and we have reports that they were taking shots at about 2 o'clock. I don't know what time they arrived on scene. I don't know what time the firefighters arrived on scene, but we can get you that information at the next briefing if you'd like.
How many engines were on scene when shots were fired? Do we know that? 3? We have 3. Thank you.
And just to be clear, the people who responded, they were wildland firefighters or they were local firefighters fighting a wildland firefighter?
City of Coeur d'Alene and Coeur Fire Rescue.
Yes, sir.
When the shots were fired, were they at an accelerated rate or was it a single shot?
Oh no, we're taking rapid fire up there. In the back.
You keep referring to individuals. Are you referring to the casualties or like the amount of suspects you believe to be?
Well, we don't know how many suspects are up there, and we don't know how many casualties that there are. Yeah, I suspect we'll have people coming forward that maybe are stuck up there that drove themselves to the hospital, but I suspect that would likely be the case.
Do we have confirmation that there are people stuck up there?
People are still coming off the mountain, so it would only be safe to assume that the mountain is not clear.
As of right now, is there an active threat to the
Absolutely,
community?
absolutely there is.
Has
Yeah.
there been a shelter-in-place order put forth?
Yes, there has, and I would encourage all of you to tell people to stay away from the area. Do not come to the area. Stay away from the area. This is going to be, if these individuals are not neutralized quickly, this is going to be likely a multi-day operation.
Here's this question. So is the suspect in a home up there? Are they do we have an indication of where they might be on the mountain?
Yeah, we don't believe that they're in a home up there at this time.
So they're just kind of out in the open firing?
Well, they're heavy brush, well prepared. So yeah, they're blending in with their surroundings.
Sheriff Norris?
Go ahead.
Did you mention that the person that called it in is most likely the shooter?
No.
Okay.
No, we didn't say that. We said the first call was at 1:21 on a fire, and then we started receiving over our radio that the firefighters were receiving shots fired from the mountain.
Sheriff Norman, has anything happened like this before? And if so, do you think you and other law enforcement entities will be more aware going forward?
You know, this is an interesting dynamic. We have seen some of these things in a urban environment where firefighters were in a urban setting, putting out firefighters during civil disobedience, getting shot at. I've seen that. I can't say that I've seen it in a rural setting myself, but I have seen it in an urban setting frequently where firefighters do get shot at in civil unrest, yes.
So do we know if there's one or two shooters?
We don't know if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Yeah, we don't know.
So just for the fire itself, firefighting efforts, is it contained? Is it still spreading? What does that look like?
Well, it's gonna keep burning because we can't put a lot of resources on there right now. But Chief, if
No, we won't put any resources
Yeah.
out there until the threat is neutralized.
Do we have like a risk of wildfire? Say, is it high winds? Is that going to fuel the fire or anything, or is it?
We're at a high state right now in wildland, so it'll calm down as the evening progresses, but then it'll pick back up tomorrow.
Thank you.
And hopefully this is neutralized by then.
Thank you.
Sheriff Norris, how are you feeling about this overall from when you first got the call to just now from what you learned?
You know what? It's going to be the tough next couple hours. Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that somebody has a clear shot and is able to neutralize, because they are not at this point in time showing any evidence of wanting to surrender. So as soon as somebody has a clear shot, I encourage them to take that shot and neutralize the threat.
I've seen several life flight helicopters coming in and out. Are there any other air resources that are being used at the moment?
Oh yeah, we have our Emergency Operations Bureau that is containing assets, and whenever a situation goes beyond the local resources, which this has, like I said, we have other counties that are here, we have federal authorities that are here, and we will neutralize this threat. So.
And sorry, I know we've touched on this with the suspects. We know there is at least one, but you said possibly others. Is it coming from multiple different locations that bullets are coming from that might indicate that
Yes.
it is
Oh yeah.
one
Yep.
suspect?
Yep.
So it's coming from not just one.
Yeah, it's what the officers and deputies are reporting up on the mountain right now. So.
Have any officers been hit?
As of right now, we don't have any officers that have been hit. Okay.
Can you just confirm, list all the law enforcement authorities that are here on scene?
Well, I have not gotten a list yet, but however, pretty much everybody that's in this region, we have some Spokane resources that are here. We have Marshal's office that is on scene, Bonner County Sheriff's here, Coeur d'Alene Police, of course, is here, Idaho State Police, but we have a multitude of resources right now. So, okay, what we'll do is Lieutenant Mark Ellis is going to be one of our press relations here, and we'll determine what time we'll do another press conference, or if the next one will just be a press release. So I'm thinking it'll probably be a press conference, and it'll probably be somewhere in the next 3 or 4 hours, unless something significant happens before then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we just heard from Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris there. Just a horrific situation unfolding in Coeur d'Alene. You just heard.
All right,
still
so we're
active
going to be giving you guys more updates here. We're monitoring some of the channels on social media, as well as a number of different sources via the mainstream. But the social media definitely is abuzz, especially locally, about what's going on. And I'm going to kind of run through some of those comments. There are saying an unknown number of suspects, that they're not in any way, they're camouflage. They're almost making it sound like it's some kind of operation, but the chief there didn't seem real confident about really finding out where it's going from here on out. The fire is still spreading. Now, if there's any current news, we will definitely. Let's see if we got any kind of current updates here. 1 second here. Is there anybody in the chat room that is from North Idaho? Just out of curiosity, anybody in the chat room that is from North Idaho? We're looking at the area right here. This is Hayden Lake, and then you've got Coeur d'Alene right below here. Let's see, this is the area where they're talking about here is this area right in here where this red dot is. Right, kind of right below Dalton Gardens. This is east of Coeur d'Alene, the main part of the city and or suburb area right behind the main government area. This is Government Way right here, North Government Way. So the government area is right in here for Coeur d'Alene. And then you've got this back area only a few blocks east of the Government Way where Canefield Mountain is. And this is where this operation or whatever is happening there, I say operation because many people are speculating right now on social media that it's some kind of possible terror attack, that this is some kind of operation, a sleeper cell, or, nobody knows. Nobody really knows at this point, but there's so much speculation ongoing, especially with the fact that there's sniper fire. Now, I did see a comment that said something about a homeless man that was being harassed, he felt, by the police, and that when they came back, he started shooting. I don't know if that's anything that has anything to do with what's going on. It doesn't seem like it would be because somebody that is homeless, not saying they couldn't have guns, but if it's just one guy, this doesn't seem like it would be continuing on like the way it is. And especially now with all the technology they have, helicopters, thermal, infrared, whatever they need to be able to see through the brush, I'm sure they can see somebody that's, sniping at officers. And if they have one of those sports guns, I mean, you've got a gun that has a very good scope on it. Potentially, you can shoot targets at up to a mile away if you've got a good gun and a good scope, and you're well skilled with it. That's what they call a sniping rifle. You can hit targets from quite a distance away. So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. Is that they're saying that it is a sports type weapon, is what the sheriff had said. So potentially somebody could be hiding out on one of these faraway areas, scoping in what's going on with this fire and shooting from a distance and hitting people. I mean, you could literally hit somebody at 700 yards, going up to 1,000 yards. I mean, how far is a mile? So yeah, let's look at some of the conversations. I'm looking up right now North Idaho News on Facebook, and I'm just seeing just thousands of comments coming in, videos coming in, people showing what they're seeing and what they're thinking and what they're feeling about what this might mean. Let me look at some of the recent posts here in the comment section here. Let's see. Let's just get a few little updates here. 8 minutes ago. All right, so recent comments. Newest. The officer on the news, which was probably about an hour ago, said that there were still active shooting taking place. Active sniping was actually happening as they were speaking. And he said shooter or shooters. So he made it sound like there potentially was more than one shooter. And how in the world are they on the run if the shooter or shooters are actively shooting? If you're actively shooting, that means you're perched somewhere, scoping out your targets. You're not actually on the run. So he did say, I think they were on the run. But if they're actively shooting, I don't know how you could be on the run. Someone said, what kind of sick people would do this to firefighters and law enforcement? Someone that's a terrorist. Only a coward would shoot an unarmed firefighter. That's true. Absolutely. Decker. Who the heck is Decker? Well, let's see what else is happening here. Let's see if there's any news updates here. This is a live feed here.
Plan your day with Matt Gray. Only on Good Morning Northwest.
1 year old says there's something about a poo fest anytime soon. People who
Nope. Nothing new. All right. Well, guys, I think we're going to just call it on this right here. We're going to update you via our social media on our Telegram channel. Make sure you subscribe to our Telegram channel if you want current news updates in real time. We are really focused right now on the Middle East and all the unfolding events that are happening there, as well as how that affects our domestic issues and policies that are really just like this public lands grab that they tried to do. We're going to be doing some live updates on that tonight and going through all the news with you guys. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe both to YouTube and our Telegram channel for all breaking news live updates. We've got some great coverage here with multiple feeds. When these events unfold, we usually pipe in a number of great feeds as well as social media information. Aggregate it right here at BP News. So stay tuned to BP News, and we appreciate all your guys' support and making sure that you share this feed and getting the word out to others that they need to be connected here to find out what's going on. Because we do monitor everything right here on our feeds, right in our deep underground military style bunker. And that door is securely ratcheted down. And when the zombies start running around on the surface, we will definitely not open the door. But anyways, just having a little fun there. But for all those who are in North Idaho, God bless. Hoping that all is well, that they catch this guy quickly, neutralize him if need be, and find out what his true motives were and if it truly was a terrorist attack. And that's something that it started right here in North Idaho. Many people believe that that's the way, from what they are saying. This is why I think the government is looking into this, is that a asymmetrical warfare, one of their tactics and what they've said these terrorists would do is start forest fires. And I don't think if anybody didn't hear the first part of what I said from Bubba News, I think he had it actually explained it very well. So just scroll back about a half hour and listen to what I talked about when I was covering Bubba News's take on this. It's absolutely exactly what I think we should be looking at with this incident in North Idaho. So stay tuned to our channel, and we'll be coming back on a little bit later to update you guys on news as well as what's happening there in North Idaho. God bless, and we'll see you on the flip side.